Now, beginning the Herculean task of increasing electricity supplies or electricity generation, Power Minister Piyush Goyal on Friday asked Coal India to raise the production of coal from existing mines and reduce the quantity offered in e-auction so that utilities can get more supplies of the fuel. We've invited two guests on our show to tell us whether these comments will actually eventually translate into anything important for as far as supplies go. Partha Bhattacharya, former chairman of Coal India, and Harshvardhan Dole of IIFL joins us now to talk about that. Gentlemen, good morning to both of you and thank you for being with us on the show. Mr. Bhattacharya, I want to just start off with you. The first comment that was made by the Power Minister that the coal supply issue will be addressed by the new government. But we all know that, Coal India alone cannot meet the requirements or the demand that is currently there in the system. In your mind, what are the 1, 2 or 3 steps that need to be done in order to ensure higher supply of coal?
You see, it is important to understand the problem at its roots. Without that, we will not be able to come to a proper solution. The fact that Coal India would not be able to meet the country's or the power sector's demand for coal if the power sector goes in for an accelerated addition to power capacity was understood very well in early 90s. And that is the reason the 1993 amendment of Coal Mines Nationalization Act was carried out, which allowed the government to take out blocks from Coal India and give it to captive end users. So having known that situation 20 years back, there is, I don't think much could be achieved just by forcing Coal India to supply coal to power stations. You see, the fact that, you have to add credible number of players in the mining space in order to make it happen. You require a couple of Coal Indias to make it happen. A company of Coal India's size cannot meet the demand of all of the entire country. The basic mistake that took place is, having understood that Coal India can't do it, again in 2007, when the new coal distribution policy was enacted, a line was put in that policy document that Coal India will have to meet everybody's demand. So that is the genesis of the whole issue today. And that is how the government doesn't have any other means other than to force Coal India to increase production and continue supplies. Now, Coal India definitely should increase production. There is no reason why Coal India should continue to languish like the way it has done for the last 3, 4 years. But there is again a reason to that. It was Coal India had accelerated its production growth to well over 6%. It achieved 6.4% in 2008-9. Achieved close to 7% in 2009-10, was on its way to move towards 7 to 8% kind of growth. When all of a sudden in 2010-11, the Ministry of Environment and Forest introduced something called CEPI, Comprehensive Environment Pollution Index, and introduced a blanket ban on all industrial expansion in all the areas which are critically polluted, without looking into what are the industries that are leading to this critical pollution. Had they done that, then coal mining would have been spared in those days. So that is the reason why in 2010-11 and 2011-12 Coal India simply fell flat. The growth rate was just about 1% or so. So in these 2 years, Coal India has missed out on production of at least something like 55 million tons. So today our production level in Coal India would have been 55 million tons better than what it is just because of that single act. So one is that side, and the second is no new credible players are getting added. So in this situation, I am not really convinced that actual steps that are required to be done are being taken. What we need to simply do is to open up the coal sector and get formidable mining players with core competence in coal mining. And that is actually what is going to make a difference.
Okay, that point is taken, Mr. Bhattacharya. But the other point about reducing e-auction, because in the past Coal India has maintained that it's not something that it does by choice. It's something that it has to do because transportation becomes an issue. How would you comment on that?
Not only that, you see, Coal India has not been giving coal linkage to any new consumer for the last I think more than a decade. So now if somebody needs coal who doesn't have a linkage, where do they go? E-auction is one route which enables anybody to ask for coal, to get coal. So it provides a transparent access, and 10% is not a big amount. And it also enables Coal India to discover the price. The subsidy that Coal India provides in its pricing becomes, becomes unveiled through the e-auction process. So I think a company's corporate policy should be left to the company to decide. You can always make e-auction zero and then transfer that coal to power sector, but that is not the solution. Then you are actually slightly stepping into the corporate governance part of it. A company needs to have set its own rules for governance.
Okay, let's get Harshvardhan Dole of IIFL into this discussion as well. Harsh, what did you make of the Power Minister's statements of increasing the supply of coal? But, you know, we all know the problems that persist in this system. I mean, Mr. Bhattacharya was pointing out that we need to open up the coal sector and get formidable players. But the previous government has also spoken about that. We haven't seen anything like that come through. What is your assessment of the situation and how it could pan out from here?
No, I think what he's tried to do is just to ensure that no plant should remain stranded due to lack of coal availability. And that is to me an extension of the policy which was envisaged by the previous government, and absolutely a step in right direction. I think what further needs to be done is also to ensure that the power offtake kind of goes up, because already there is a mechanism which is being implemented whereby one can import coal and pass on that incremental cost to the end-level consumers. But what is currently withholding the sectoral recovery is essentially flat or muted offtake of power from the ACBs. So to me, while coal is surely a bit of an issue, Coal India needs to ramp up the coal production, and probably these steps will ensure over a period of time that the coal supply kind of goes up. But till the time the offtake from the ACBs improves, these measures may not lead to the desired results in medium to long term to me.
So how do you approach a stock like Coal India now? I mean, purely on the back of this, the possibility that they will have to cut down on e-auction sales, where most of their profitability comes from. What could the impact on Coal India be?
Well, I don't cover Coal India myself. But as a house, we think that if the essentially company is able to ramp up the coal production from here on, that is what our analysts have been writing in the reports, there is a reasonable risk-reward even now from here on the table.
Mr. Bhattacharya, the other issue which has been discussed over the last 1 month is breaking up Coal India, though the minister was quick to clarify that that proposal is not on board right now. What would be your comment on that? Could that be one of the solutions?
See, my point has always been that we need to add formidable mining players, and those should be additional players. So breaking Coal India doesn't make that happen. It is the same subsidiaries becoming companies doesn't really add to mining players. So I don't think that will help. Not only that, the Coal India does have a lot of value addition in the system. See, because corporate governance, vision, long-term vision and things like that are all dealt at the Coal India level. The subsidiaries are big enough, but they have been always looking towards Coal India and the Ministry of Coal for overall policy level guidance. So I don't think breaking Coal India does make too much of a sense. And let me also tell you, you see, in this country, there are not too many companies or not too many sectors where India's largest is also the world's largest. Coal India happens to be one of those rare things. The largest coal mining company in the world also happens to be Coal India. So just breaking it and then, for whatever little gains here and there, I don't think it would be a sensible thing, and I'm very happy that the minister has clarified that that is not on cards.
All right, we could actually continue this discussion for a long time, many more interesting subjects to discuss, but we've run out of time. Mr. Bhattacharya as well as Harsh, thank you for joining us and throwing some light on how the situation can evolve from here. But